Our bakery. Excited to see you here today for our session all about baking inspiration. Let me make sure we are good to go. Got to get all my situations lined up. Perfect. Okay, looks like I can see comments. I'm live in the group too, so let me know if you have any comments as we move through this. The whole theme for June here at Build a Better Bakery is innovation inspiration. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about some baking inspiration in more of a wide-ranging theme idea rather than specific products telling you to go out to make XYZ. These are going to be more themes. I got a little thing on my glasses. I don't think I can get it. It's very annoying. Okay, so we're going to be talking about baking inspiration today with some three categories that I have seen in my own personal business and also in some of the bakers that I mentor. They tell me that these have been good strategic avenues for them to take to bring in some extra sales, and sometimes they even push through with new lines of products because of these types of innovation. So I want to share those with you today. If we've never met before, I'm Melissa Fryer with Build a Better Bakery. I'm the main mentor. We have a group of expert coaches that also help out bakers in our elite mentorship program. I'm kind of spread all over. I've got courses, essential paperwork, one-on-one sessions, a blog, lots of good stuff out there for you if you need some mentorship. And if you're just looking to find more joy and less overwhelm while you're starting and growing your baking business, then we should hang out. All right. Now, I want to start off this session by saying that it's really common to get stuck in our heads when it comes to baking new products. It's just sometimes we get too close to home and it's hard to really think outside the box and think of something new. Super common. Even when you're trying to expand your offers, trying to fill your case, your vendor table, whatever it is you're trying to do. I'm seeing a lot of hashtag live. Cindy says amazing earrings. Thank y'all. A friend of mine here does felting and she makes these really big, bold earrings. And I could not pass up these little rainbow cake slices at one of her vendor tables last year. So yes, thank you very much. If you are here live, you can do your hashtag live. If you're here on the replay ever, throw up your hashtag replay. Then I will know that you were here. And moving along with our subject, it is hard to go beyond our current ideas sometimes. So that's the whole point of this session, is to get that inspiration into your brains. So instead of focusing on this specific products, like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about the categories, and we're going to cover 3 of them. If you want to stay in the know about these lives, you can send me a friend request to Melissa Fryer on Facebook. I will add you, and then you'll get automatic invites to all the sessions that we do once a week here in the group. You can check the events for the current one coming up. Usually goes up a couple days before the week of. You can also hang out on the email list. I'll send out replay links and other resources, but it's usually later, so a couple weeks after it's live. You can view these on YouTube, also a replay posted there. I like to be here every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now I'm about to move, so that will change. We'll be in Mountain Time. The day time might change. We'll see. But right now, if I'm here next week, then it'll be that same time, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursdays. All right, let's jump right in. The first category I want to mention today is copycats. This category is a fun one. If you've never heard of a copycat, it's where you take a popular product, doesn't even necessarily have to be a baked product, but a popular product, and then make a copycat version of it the way that you like to bake. So let's say you specialize in muffins, you make a copycat French toast muffin, right? You're using a particular product that people already like, and you're making a copycat in the way that you like to bake. So you can get really creative with this, but you have that end goal of the flavor that you're looking for. It's fun for clients to get involved with this because people love to compare copycats to what they think the original product tastes like. So it might feel like a little bit of pressure, but it can be done, and it can be done even better than the original. So that's kind of the goal. I'll mention in a moment if you're going to work inside this category. What's nice about the copycats that we can produce is often we can create a higher quality of a mainstream product, because we all know, due to industry profit machines that are in place, that cut corners, use lower quality ingredients, etc., to make profit on a high selling product, like an industrial level product. Sometimes we can make things taste even better because we can do it on a smaller scale and use better ingredients. So your two advantages for this type of innovative theme of copycat is that you already know most of the ingredients you need to use, and likely you can find a recipe online for something similar. A lot of people do this, it's pretty common. So following along with the way that someone approached the copycat recipe is always a good idea if you've never done it before. And the other nice thing is you get to ride on the popularity of the original without having to build the hype behind it. So if you say I'm making a copycat of XYZ and someone already likes XYZ, they're interested in your product. You don't even have to sell it to them. They already like the first one. So they're going to want to try that one that you're making because it's new and different, but it's also related to the first one. So they know they're probably going to like it, right? It takes away a barrier of, it adds some trust to the transaction because they can imagine what to expect from the copycat. Now, one thing you have to watch out for with this option is missing the mark. So that's going to be different for everyone. I really, truly, highly suggest doing some strong taste testing. And when I mean strong taste testing, I mean testing with people who aren't personally tied to you, who are willing and able to speak about a product fully, not just it's good, it's bad, but actually describe to you what it is they like about it, what it is they don't like about it, with their fully honest opinion. I know it's kind of scary, but if you're going to use copycats as a good sales tool, that copycat has to hit every time. So doing that strong taste testing is going to really help you along the way as you're building the product. You might hit it on the head, nail on the head first time. You might need to do some tweaking. So because people are expecting a certain flavor, I think this is where the taste testing is really important. Now, as an example, if you're kind of like, well, what is she even talking about? As an example, maybe you would make something like a Snickers copycat bar. So it's just cut from a layered pan, right? It's not like you're trying to recreate, oh my gosh, I have to make an actual candy bar, but something that resembles the famous selling treat. It can be set up differently. It can be baked differently. It can be put together differently, but it needs to kind of look like it. And it needs to have most, if not all, of the same ingredients. The nice thing about the way you can approach your copycat is you can make it easier to make. So having it in a pan where you're cutting it out instead of actual single candy bars, that's going to take a lot of labor time away from your production. So you can actually sell it for the same or even less because you're not spending so much time on each piece. And then with the bar, the advantage to a candy bar is that the clients can see all the yummy layers of this particular product along the side. So they don't have to cut into it to be able to see what have you put inside this product, right? So that's just one example of a copycat. Now, it doesn't, like I mentioned, it does not have to look exactly like the original, but the flavor does need to match or beat the original. So that's this one, that's the kind of kicker for this one. You gotta be really specific about the flavor. All right, let's move on to number 2. Hi, good to see you, Demetria. Let's move on to number 2, visual nostalgic themes. Now you can also do tactile where they're kind of doing something with the product that's nostalgic. I have examples for that as well. I might mention that in, right after this. But visual nostalgic themes are a little easier to comprehend if you're kind of new to this out of the box thinking when we're trying to expand offers without going off the rails, right? So this one is fun because you will often be selling to people who are kind of in your same age range and likely can relate to childhood favorites that people know and like. So it's not going to be hard to kind of excite someone about these themes because they're already excited. It's already a nostalgic memory for them. Now, the nice thing is that you can take this theme and you can apply it to any bake. So it's not a specific product, it's how you use the theme overall. And if you have a specialty, let's say it's one specific thing, you can use seemingly unrelated products to sell that theme to clients. So, I'll give you an example here in just a second. Now, the thing to watch out for here is to read the room. This one's important when it comes to nostalgia and trying to get people interested in a memory or how they feel about a childhood memory. It's usually childhood or young adulthood. Is to focus on understanding that your childhood memories may be obscure or just out of the realm from the general population. You might not really notice it, but you're looking for themes that most people can understand in your area. So it's better to choose a commonly known one rather than something very specific and niche, unless you have a community or a group of people you already know that they're interested in that, and that's okay. But let's say you grew up in a different country than you're trying to sell in, and you have this childhood treat and it's really good, but maybe no one's ever heard of it. No one knows how to pronounce it. I'm not saying not to make it, but fitting into this nostalgia category is going to be a lot harder because the hype behind the original theme isn't going to be there. You're going to have to take that extra step of teaching people what it is. So that doesn't necessarily fit into this category. Now, an example of a commonly known nostalgic theme from my childhood area, I grew up in Missouri, would be something called the Bomb Pop Popsicle. If you guys know what that is, it's like a little popsicle with ridges on the side, and it's got blue and white and red. It's very iconic for the summertime. Its shape, its color, all of that could be incorporated into any product, right? You could add those little elements into whatever you're making to follow along with the Bomb Pop, right, theme. It's got a certain shape, and all those three colors are very iconic for it. And for me, these have been a US summer treat since around the 50s, and they're created in Kansas City, Missouri. So a lot of people in Missouri know what Bomb Pops are because they were in all of our stores, because they were created there, and those large companies push them out to basically every grocery store in Missouri, I imagine. Okay. So if I'm baking in Missouri, I would imagine that most people would get that theme. They would understand what I'm saying when I say a Bomb Pop, or when I, mention that as being my theme for this line of products. And then they can build onto that nostalgia with me, rather than me having to describe to them what it was, right? There's really no tie for them. So the excitement isn't as high as if they already know what it is. Okay. And then lastly, twist on a top seller. This one might seem a little duh, but I want you to consider this as a theme to continue to go back to, because it's essentially, for the most part, an endless bucket of ideas. Many of us who've been selling bakes for 6 months or more have an idea of what some of our best sellers are. You can look back at your sales logs. You can look back at your vendor tables. What leaves the table first? What are people asking you about on social? What are people DMing you about? What kind of comments are you getting as like, this is the best one I've ever had. I can't keep this in my house for more than an hour. Just the ones that are addicting. Those are usually the best sellers. People can't keep their hands off of them. And in this case, just as a quick example, let's say for you, it's a chocolate cupcake and a snickerdoodle cookie. You can't keep them in stock. People continue to buy them. You don't even know where they're going with these. They just grab them and leave, and you never have any on hand. They're your top sellers. So many of your existing clients already love these products. And since you've been marketing them consistently anyway, even if you have people who are still on the fence, they haven't actually purchased, they probably know what these products look like or have seen you talk about them, even if they've never bought them before. So the advantage to this, doing the twist, is to give them a facelift or a new outfit and bring a twist to these products to get clients excited to try them in their various versions. This could look like a cupcake or a cookie flight, doing a couple different flavors and offering them as a variety box. It could look like a single release of one new twist with a limited bake number, right? I'm gonna create this new flavor, but I'm only gonna bake 2 dozen. So if you want some, pre-order here, or however it is, build up the hype around trying this new twist. And there's many other options that you could formulate around how you want to sell these. Twists on a chocolate cupcake might be something super simple, and I suggest starting simple, like adding peanut butter or lots of chocolate toppers, a kind of death by chocolate overload kind of thing, a fruit of some kind, marshmallow, etc. There's lots of things that go with chocolate, and regionally that can be different. So kind of focus on what your current area seems to like, and then use that as inspiration for your twist. Now, a snickerdoodle, this one's a little difficult because a little more difficult than the chocolate cupcake, because a snickerdoodle is really something very specific at its base, but you could throw in some caramel, you could throw in some butterscotch or some cheesecake or a special glaze. You can give it a little something. Now, the nice thing about this option is you already know the clients like the main product. So you're really not having to educate them on the base product because it's basically the same, right? They're still getting the same chocolate cupcake. And you don't necessarily have to come up with a brand new recipe. And I would suggest that you not do that when you begin to start your twisting, because we want to have as many things known as possible as we start to change things. So as you add and twist, you can bring these new flavor profiles to the front. You might want to do taste testing again with these. You might, because you know the base is good and adding the toppings or adding the fillings, maybe you don't have to do as thorough of a taste test on it, but you could still ask some people how they feel about these new flavors. I'm sorry, if you've seen it, there is one fly in this room. It's right here. And it's like going in front of my face. Yep, there it is. Let me know if you see the fly. Okay. Now this might also be what a client on the fence needed. So I was talking about getting people off the fence. Sometimes you gotta give them a little something more, right? So let's say they've seen, oh my gosh, these chocolate cupcakes are so popular, people buy them, they must be good. But maybe they needed just a little bit more. And sometimes to become a customer, to get off the fence and actually start buying from you. So sometimes when I create a twist, let's say I added peanut butter to a product, I'll hear things in the comments or in my DMs like, all you had to say was peanut butter. Sometimes it's the topping that's drawing someone in, or sometimes it's the twist that they needed to get in and actually get involved with your business. Now, the thing to watch out for with this one is getting carried away. Okay. So if you've ever done this, you probably know what I'm talking about. It can be easy to twist away and buy all these ingredients and remake the entire recipe. And it's just like, by the end of it, you're not even sure what you're doing because there's just so much going on. But I urge you to stick with the same base recipe to begin with and add to it to make your first twist. So instead of trying to redo a base recipe, which can have lots of problems, leavening issues, liquid issues, balance issues, flavor issues, rise issues, all of that, I would suggest that you stick with the base recipe, add to it, and then you can test them as you're adding to see if the flavor profile is even hitting. And if it is, you can devote more time and money and energy into changing it into something else that's more invasive to the recipe. If you feel like, hey, this is something I want to have on full time, but I need to incorporate the peanut butter into the batter, or I need to get the marshmallows in a certain way, rather than just being placed on top, right? So it's really playing with the flavors first, and then you can go in and do some deep changes if you feel like it's really necessary. And the great thing, we already know that the bestseller is popular, right? We've already determined that. So we have to be gentle at first to not stray too far from the star of the show. We got to still let it be the star for now. All right, so to recap, I know that went kind of quick today. If you have questions, let me know. To recap, instead of focusing on what specific bakes to make when you need some inspiration, use the larger categories. It's going to be easier for you to come up with ideas because it's going to excite your creative brain. It's going to make you feel like you have so many options. You can look at copycats. You can look at nostalgic themes. You can look at twists to popular top sellers. Get your ideas flowing. Now with this nostalgic themes, I mentioned the visual, but you could also do tactile. So one thing I sell is cookie dippers, kind of like Dunkaroos, but they're way better, right? So if there's something like a cocoa bomb, I know they're going a little bit out of trend now, but they were very trendy recently. So it's just hot cocoa, but it's the way it's put together and the way that people want to stir it up and have some fun with it, right? So any kind of tactile addition that you can add to your products, that could be a whole other category if you want to tiptoe into that arena. You don't have to. Those can get a little more planning and more things to buy for them, because sometimes you're trying to do multiple things with the product, not just having the product to eat, but setting it up in a certain way. So definitely head into that arena if you're interested. Now, so to recap, right? Copycat, nostalgic themes, and a twist to the popular product. In each case, the reason these three are specifically important is because in each case, you are not starting at zero. Copycat, you already know what you're trying to hit. Nostalgic, you already know the visual that you're going for. And with the twist, you already have the base product that's popular. So you're already starting with 1 foot ahead on each of these categories. And each option already has community hype behind it, right? The copycat already has people who love the original thing. Nostalgia already has people who remember that thing. And the twist already has people who are actually buying the product. So those are really three good chances for you to bring up your sales and start not from ground zero, but like step 2 or 3, and then move forward. Now, so to support you even further in your baking journey, you may have heard me talk about the Elite Mentorship Program. The reason I'm going to bring it up here is because it includes some thought-provoking sessions. We ask a lot of questions in the sessions, and we give you a ton of information in these sessions. And there are a wide range to pick from. We cover recipe formulation, signature recipe formulation, which I highly suggest, flavor balancing, cookie, cupcake, and cake design techniques, because that's what I focus on, with step-by-steps for all of those, plus extra sessions on things like dipped fruit and cocoa bombs and other small treats. It's all included inside our Vault library, which is a big section of information that me and the other coaches have built up for you. It's got lots of yummy content available 24/7, unlimited to you and accessible to you whenever you're a member at any tier that you want to join. So it's just a great little pot of information that's sitting there, easy to use and easy to get your inspiration going to. So you can DM me or comment here with Elite if you want more info about that. You can also check the website. You'll see it up there in the tabs. There's more info, there's membership options, etc. Okay, so cheers to baking inspiration. Let me know in the comments. Do any of those categories kind of resonate with you? And if they do, which one are you going to try first? Now, I am off to continue packing for our move. I've been talking about it for a while, but it's finally happening. We are in our final week at this house before we head out to Texas, and I'll actually be packing up the room and all this stuff that you see in the lights right after this. So it means I may or may not be live with you over the next few weeks. I don't really know how this is going to go. So I will be in the group. I don't know if it's going to look or sound exactly like this. I might be able to show up during the week. I'm not sure yet, but go ahead and keep posting using the group. I'll be there when I can. I wanted to thank everyone for being lovely and serving your family and friends and community with your amazing bakes, because I know it takes a lot of work, but I know people really appreciate what you're doing. And I'm wishing you all the best today, and I'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.